Live from the Veritex Community Bank Studios, here's Paul Gallant and Joe George.
713 says Espada gets most of the blame for me.
I think last night there were two places that you can pin the blame on him. It's the idea that pinch hitting Singleton ever works. And two, I don't know why you didn't walk Salvador Perez.
Yep.
You were past Bobby Witt. The lineup for the Royals, I'm assuming after Salvador Perez, is going to get a little bit easier for whoever was out on the hill. And you start the inning with the runner on second base. You may as well create a force-out situation and get away from the guy who you know over the course of his career has been a power hitter.
Yeah. Alex Bregman gets a lot of blame for last night. The error that he had in the game, 1 for 5. Opportunities to drive in runs with the bases loaded, other opportunities in the game as well.
He did save a run, so I can't get too mad at Bregman. And also, he had 3 hits the night before too. So I'm not pointing it at him. I also feel like with Christian Javier, we might be facing an uncomfortable reality that perhaps Javier is better as a reliever because I think as these games go on, when he has these long, brutal innings, it feels like he doesn't recover from them. Maybe that has to do with the pitch clock. His stamina, though, I noticed it brought up on the post-game show on Space City Home Network. It, after those long innings, got away from him. And, I mean, he's got electric stuff, but the Ks per 9 are down. And maybe this is a guy who's better in a 2 or 3 inning kind of role. Maybe when everybody's healthy, that's somebody that you think about moving into the bullpen spot where he thrived a couple of seasons ago. And I hate to say that because you look at Javier and the stuff that he's got, but there's too many times where it feels like getting even into the 5th inning for him is a chore.
Yeah, his pitch count gets pretty out of control pretty fast. He doesn't do it as ugly as sometimes Lance McCullers always does that song and dance where he just puts you in the most stressful situations possible. He'll load the bases with 1 out, but then he'll get a double play and he'll have walked 2 of the 3 guys that are on, and it's just high stressful situations a lot of times. It feels like when he would pitch. But Javier, to your point, in 3 starts this year has gone 6 innings, 5 innings, 5.1 innings. And it's not an early season, keeping him at 70, 80 pitches. He's getting to 93. And typically, we know this from watching Javier, to your point, there's oftentimes 1 inning that balloons it.
Yeah.
And I think even his last start, he had 24. I feel like it was his last start before last night. He had 24 pitches in the first inning, and you go, okay, well, this might be a short outing. And then he kind of rolled through the rest. But his pitch count does get out of control a lot of times, and it does a challenge.
An option I hope that they think about is that when everybody's back, that this is maybe the middle reliever who you're using regularly. Is he up for that? I don't know, but he does have that kind of stuff that you've seen before where he can pitch for 2 to 3 innings and give you probably the best version of himself, where as a starter, it just is not the same for really a long stretch of time now.
Well, I mean, we'll live in positive fairy tale land here for a second. It's July, and Lance McCullers, Luis Garcia, Justin Verlander, Framber Valdez, Christian Javier, Jose Urquidy are all healthy. And you've got Hunter Brown. You've got 7 pitchers right there.
I don't know about Hunter Brown.
So Hunter Brown's the easiest one, the first one that you move to the bullpen. And then the conversation would be who the next guy would be. Now, Espada, to his positives of what he's done a little bit, I appreciate that he wasn't afraid to take Abreu out last night for Caratini. I like the fact that he's dropping, Abreu down in the order, and instead of just leaving him in the 5th spot like past managers would have potentially done. When everyone's healthy, if someone were to be a little bit more radical about who they choose to put into the bullpen and choose Christian Javier, I actually think it might be Joe Espada. The problem is you paid him as a starter. And that's where I can't imagine they would actually go down that path.
You're paying Josh Hader the same kind of money.
That's true. It's a good point.
So a pitcher is a pitcher, and if that is a better role for him, it should be something at the very least you consider. Yeah. I'm spitballing at this moment. I'm just a simple high school football legend. This baseball confuses me, frightens me.
They're going to have a lot of options, in theory, when people get healthy. Justin Verlander could be back in 2 weeks. While they said, Joe Espada said they don't have any news about the ligament for Framber Valdez, the hope, the portrayal that Espada and Dana Brown are giving off right now is that, 15 days, maybe 20, 25 days could be what you're looking at for Framber Valdez, that it might not be a serious injury. They won't really know until the inflammation in his elbow goes down, and then they'll find out what's next, but you're still talking about a month.
And they went from saying, yeah, we might not have to put him on the injured list, to a day later putting him on the injured list.
Yeah, I do get...
What's next? He's back in July?
I get more Verlander vibes. When Verlander got hurt in 2020, and after the first game of the season, and everything was like, we're just going to wait. We're going to wait for the inflammation to go down. We're going to wait. We're going to wait. We're going to wait. And then he had Tommy John. I hope I'm wrong, but maybe it's not the negativity of what's happened with the Astros doctor staff actually this time. It's just what's happening in baseball. Every single time you see a pitcher get hurt, I'm just like, well, he's done. Like, his season's over. We'll see him in 15 months. Like, it's just the way I feel watching the game every single time a pitcher leaves the game. You go to ESPN.com, click on the MLB tab, and every single day there is just a new pitcher with elbow injury lands on IL. It's so bad.
They've gone from having rubber arms to being like horses. And I'm not saying that pitchers are getting euthanized when they suffer an injury, but it wasn't that long ago where these guys, some of whom were throwing some real gas, were able to pitch 7 innings regularly. Maybe the best pitchers in the game. And I understand the game's changed and the spin rate's up and people are throwing harder and harder and harder. But you are right. It's hard to feel optimistic about any injury that involves an elbow, especially when right here on this roster, we're talking about so many guys with varying degrees of arm issues, none of which we know a damn thing about.
I mean,
and let's be perfectly honest, to go back to what you're saying, okay, maybe you're not hating on the Astros training staff. I have zero faith in that unit.
I tend to agree.
I'm not a doctor. Again, I'm just a high school football player. Doctors confuse me, frighten me with their witchery.
Now, you are like doctor adjacent.
My sister is a doctor.
So
that's true.
But
could you maybe like move some papers around, like, hey, sis, what do you think about this guy's elbow?
I could do that.
And she goes, oh, my God.
She would explain it to me in big terms. You see, I'm just the dumb son. Big words confuse me, frighten me, you see. Medulla oblongata. I don't know if that's in the elbow.